Dice Tower People's Choice Top 100 Games of All Time. Dice Tower People's Choice Top 100 Games of All Time.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Hello.
Sam Healy. It's that time. We in the top 20.
20, baby, of the best games ever made, according to
y'all.
Everyone.
Now,
except
interestingly
us.
enough, in this top 20, there's only one game that's new to the list.
Okay.
And this is because you're not going to see as much moving and shaking. So let's say if I take a game and it's in my top 10 and it's never been there before, you'll notice that because I can do that. I can like one game that much.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people are usually going to like one game so much that it shoots into the top 20.
But I mean, if we look back at the, as you've been mentioning, the other 80 games or so, if we look at those, you've mentioned a bunch of times. Oh, this started at 10. Oh, this started at 2. I mean, that was Agricola. But do you think it's been a while since there was a game that was sort of a punch to the gut in the industry? I mean, we had Dominion, right? Agricola, I think, was one of those.
The last game that was that powerful would probably be Codenames. Codenames really, I mean, sold million copies.
And that's been a couple of years, right?
Oh, well, I think it happens every couple of years.
Yeah, I think statistically it's like every 5 years, I think I've heard or read.
Well, I made that up, but yes.
No, I mean, if you look at the numbers, it's about every 5 years that you
It
have
is
one of these
about
like
where it's a
mega
huge
breakthrough
one.
hit. Yeah. One new. Okay, interesting.
And out of the 20, only 6 of them have been on the list for all 7 years. But again, that's still 6.
Staying power.
That's still 6 games of staying power. So we'll start with one of those, number 20. Started at number 3. Remember?
Ticket to Ride.
No, this is the heavy Euro game that you two guys like. It was 20 last year also, and that is Power Grid.
Power Grid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Power Grid has really had that staying power, and
It's amazing.
Oh, did we get the fabled expansion for Power?
Yeah, we did.
Did we?
It's somewhere.
We'll
yeah.
have to try. It's probably in the palette of Tsunami or Tsunami palette. That's what I'm calling it.
I read through the cards a little bit because it's not really a spoiler. I don't consider it that way. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if I want to play Power Grid multiple times in a row.
I think it's you play the Fable thing over 3 full games of Power Grid.
Oh, okay, that's not so bad.
That's still like solid 6 hours.
No, we're doing it live.
All 3.
No breaks, no potty breaks, nothing.
Pass.
Number 19
Call in sick
debuted
to
last year at number 48 and is the highest Star Wars game on our list. That is
Imperial Assault.
no, we already did Imperial
we already
Assault.
said
We
Imperial
did
Assault.
Star Wars.
We've already talked about
the
X-Wing.
Filthy Gamblers.
I would actually play that.
Filthy Gamblers.
You never heard of that one?
Star Wars Rebellion.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Star Wars Rebellion has gotten a lot of buzz. It's this generation's War of the Ring. Right? War of the Ring has been a game that's been really big and buzzed for a long time.
Okay.
Although I believe it fell off the list completely.
The
War of the Ring.
Rebellion is the 2-player one, right?
Yeah.
Well, you can play it with 4 players, but yeah, it's a 2-player.
Got it. Never played it. I should probably play this.
You're not gonna.
No, I would play this.
Would you?
Yeah, sure.
I can't tell if he's trolling.
No,
us.
I'm serious. I mean, it's a 2-player. It is like maybe 90 minutes or whatever, right?
I think the one thing you would like
would
about
play
the
it.
game is the deduction element because you're
This game looks cool, and it's only a 2-player game. I would try it, and I probably should try this one. There's a lot of Euro games that are sort of I can look at it and go.
Probably plays the Imperials first, since you would like the deduction aspect of it.
right because the Imperials are trying to figure out where the Rebels base is.
Yeah, I would do this. Yeah.
All right, number 18 has been on the list for 4 years. It was at 5 in 2015. This is the game that I think Sam said would be stupidly at number 1, but it's not. And that's Splendor.
Ah,
But still going strong, man.
well, good. It's not number 1.
It's still 18.
They
That's
went
really
from
high.
5 to 18.
It was 5, 14, 18.
This is just going to continue slowly making its way out of the top 100.
Well, especially with Century showing up and
agree.
things like
Century, any other, this,
that.
any
I know
other
you're saying
sort
it's
of.
slowly making its way, but I mean, I think it will be like 5 years before it leaves.
Yeah, sure, that's fine, and that is a good hit in an industry that forgets its games 6 months after they release.
True.
But it is still not the kind of game I think is going to have a really, really long lifespan because it's simply too
I don't know.
too streamlined.
So many people like this game.
Yeah.
So many people.
The next game is a game that every year when I do the top People's Choice and we publish the results, people are like, this game is stupid. I can't believe it's on the list. And I thought it was stupid when I first heard about it, but it has its fans, and I'm one of them, and that's Lords of Waterdeep. But every year people are like, I can't believe it's on the list. You know what it is?
It's on the list.
It's a good, solid worker placement game.
Not a good, solid worker placement game.
I don't get why you don't like this game.
Because, shut up.
Well, that is a valid argument,
That's
but
a good reason.
let me resound.
No, I don't know. It's fine. I was not entertained by it. I've played it twice, I think, and it didn't do anything that any other worker placement game didn't do for me.
I guess I like it
And
because it just makes. I like the points.
Do you like Champions of Midgard better?
Oh yeah.
Well, so do I. But
I mean, I don't. That's what I don't understand. I don't understand why people like this game better than Champions
well,
of Midgard.
D&D is a property people really like.
Understood.
But it's just not.
Yeah.
It's not there. I mean, I'm not a big D&D fan, but it's just like gather 3 red cubes, 2 black cubes, and a white cube, and then cash this card in for some points.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think maybe that's one of the reasons it's so high on the list is because it was a gateway game for a lot of people.
Right.
They already were like a role players and like, hey, I got this other Dungeons and Dragon board games. They're like, oh, all right, I'll try it. Then they played it and said, this is really good.
Right.
What else is there? I'm curious. Comment on this list if this was your gateway game. I'm
I
curious.
got that.
All right, number 16 has been on the list for 4 years. It was 2 in 2015. It was in 2015. Pandemic was number 1, and this was number 2. And it's a game Z does not like nearly as much as you do. It's about zombies, Dead of Winter. Still pretty high though. Still pretty high. 16. It was 6 last
This is
year.
the
was
base
2
game,
in
not the-
2015.
It was 40. It came on at 44, then went all the way up to 2, then 16 and 22. The people who love this game,
Yes. Yes.
Nerve. Now, did you do the combination thingy on this one? Were there other iterations?
I
of
didn't
Dead
see
of
the other one
Winter?
at all.
You didn't?
We didn't have as much of me this year. When people voted, I put in the top, pick the newest, most basic version. So I don't think anyone will pick the Warring Colonies anyway.
Well, that's the.
I'm sorry, that's the newest one. I'm sorry, the other
The
one,
Long Night or whatever.
the Long Night. I didn't see that one at all. So Still, though.
I would imagine people are doing that in their head, though. They're equating the two in their head when they.
well, yeah, I would imagine. I can't.
'Cause
There's
the
no way you're
long-
gonna like one and not the other.
Yeah,
Right.
the long night is not that much different from the base game. It just adds some stuff to it.
Number 15 also was number 2 at one point. It was number 2 for 2 years in a row in 2013 and 14. It was really close from being number 1. Pandemic beat it both times. And that is King of Tokyo.
Yeah.
Still really high on the list. By the way, King of New York, not on the list at all.
No.
And again, I think that's the whole point. King of Tokyo is the more wider appeal version of that game.
It was first. It had that benefit, right? It was cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
It is easier to teach, easier to play. It's gonna beat the other one. And I know I'm sure a lot of people out there who do enjoy New York more. They're definitely gonna be the minority.
I would imagine.
And this is one of those evergreen games this is a hit.
Yeah, I think it will stay. I mean, 15, it was 7 last year, so it is a bit of a drop. But I think it's going to still stick around in this top 100 for a long time.
Yeah.
Right.
Number 14 is Castles of Burgundy. It was 15 last year, so it's actually moving up. This is that one game when people are like, hey, do you play Stefan Feld? You need to play Castle of Burgundy.
This is actually one of the few Stefan Feld games that I have not played.
Which is weird
I don't
because
think
you
I've
might
played
like
it
this one.
I might.
I don't think I've played it either.
I like a lot
You
of
would
his
hate it.
games. I mean, I hate some of his games, and I like many of them. This one really does not look appealing on the table. And I've just never had a chance to play it. I played the card game version of it. I think it was the card game version. Yeah. And reading that rule book it felt like it assumed you knew Castles of Burgundy. And I had a problem just sort of figuring out very basic concepts from that rule book. The dice game that just came out, and they're supporting there's the whole line of them now, that I liked. The dice sort of roll and write game, but I never played the original.
Number 13 was number 1 in 2011 and 2012 and has slowly dropped, but barely, and that is Dominion. Now, Dominion, I mean, love it or hate it, Dominion is one of those games that's going to be around for a long time.
Powerhouse.
Now, I have seen the new expansion. It's coming out very soon. I've been looking at all the previews, and they've run out of things to do, so they're adding a new phase and called Nighttime, and new cards that do weird things. I'm thinking I'm not going to like it. It looks like it adds too much stuff. But the game is so successful, it's still having expansions this many years later.
Yeah.
So, all right. Number 12 has been on the list for 3 years and is currently one of the most popular Days of Wonders games out there. Certainly is one of your favorites.
5 Tribes?
5 Tribes.
That's amazing.
Wow.
How high this is.
It really is, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
That's incredibly.
Then again, they are
wouldn't expect
supporting it, so you should be able to discern from that the game is doing well.
I guess.
No, I actually specifically asked this question, and yes, doing much better. Like, for example, Yamatai came out this year, but it did not have the same reaction that
Sure.
5 Tribes did. 5 Tribes was just, I think, that simplicity. I mean, I know it's pretty deep and heavy when you get into it more, but just the idea is simple. Pick stuff up, move it, do this, get points somehow.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's
But it
got
offers
a
a
lot,
much deeper experience.
got a lot going on in it, but it all is sort of easy to figure out. I am surprised this is one of those Euro games, though, that, again, beats out so many other Euro games. And it's hard to put your finger on why this one.
Yeah.
It almost feels like, why did this one win the lottery? You know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, I love it too, so maybe that's just it. Maybe people just like it.
Number 11 was number 11 in 2011 also.
In 2011,
It was 11.
it's code 777.
Actually, it was 11, 6, 9, 10, 11, 13, 11. So it's always been toying with this thing. And it is
Huge.
the gateway game. It's been out for a long time. Which one is it now?
Ticket to Ride.
Nope.
Really?
Carcassonne.
Carcassonne.
Wow, really?
And that's base Carcassonne, right? It's not Carcassonne Amazonas, and I didn't add them together or anything. None of the other ones showed up on the
Wow.
list. But again, this is one of those. When I was at the Essen Spiel, they had like 30 promos for Carcassonne. If the game wasn't
I
selling,
mean,
they would stop
they
doing
had a big
promos.
tournament for Carcassonne.
Yeah, they did.
That's true.
Yeah.
This game just consistently.
Juggernaut, man. That's
Yeah, it is.
amazing.
And again, I think
Cool.
this again disputes that whole cult of the new. Sure, new games get on the list, but Carcassonne has held its spot for a really long time.
It's insane.
All right, here we go. Top 10. Number 10 has been on the list for 3 years. Came in at 77, went up to number 3 last year, and now settles down at 10. I think it will settle down around this spot. And we were just talking about it earlier from CGE Games, Codenames. So no, it's not number 1.
Code names.
How does it feel?
Feels great.
But I think Codenames is going to get a bit of a resurgence. The Disney version looks really good.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the Marvel version of it. It just looks, and we're going to see 30 versions of it. Just be prepared. A tsunami of Codenames is coming.
This game is it's that
Codenames Dice Tower.
Love Letter Part 2.
it's that right.
Idiot
It's got
3.
that
Oh, that's
that
Tom Z. Sam.
Wow.
it has the they have the ability to just skin whatever they want on the system and
Yep.
keep on trucking. So this is that game that you'll see everywhere, bookstores, and it has that ability.
Yeah. Number 9 debuted at number 8 in 2011. And this is the other gateway game, and you guys already mentioned this. It was 5 last year, 9 now, and that's Ticket to Ride. Again, just one of those games, from the very get-go, you knew this was going to be a game and a half.
Yep.
I do think it's funny that, as opposed to, I mean, this happens a little bit, say, in the film industry, but not as much as it seems to happen in the board game industry, where the ones that are really popular and sell a ton are also the ones that show up on the how critically acclaimed is it, versus in the movie industry that
Not
happens
necessarily.
rarely.
Right, yeah.
You know, you'll get like your Titanic, makes billions of dollars, critics like it, or people, you know, who consider themselves critics. But then you've got like makes billions of dollars and it's Transformers, and most people are like, no, you know.
And yet people still watch it because they
People
don't care
do
what the critics
watch it,
say.
but the ones that are critical of movies, and this list I think would reflect that. Otherwise, they wouldn't know to vote on our list, right? There is still that game, Codenames. It's the one that sold 1 million copies, and it's on this list. Ticket to Ride, Carcassonne. You know what I mean? I think that's interesting that those two things do line up. It's just an interesting observation.
All right, and now we're jumping to number 8.
So we still have not heard the new one on the list.
No, we're not there yet. Number 8 came on the list last year at number 12. It is a spin-off of a much bigger game, a 2-player version of a game that made it all up to number 10.
Two-player version.
The two-player version of a game that's almost more popular than the base game itself.
Seven Wonders Duel. Yeah.
Seven Wonders Duel. It's a super popular game.
Mega hit. Yeah, it's awesome.
Not much to really say about it. It's still doing well.
Great game.
And this is the one of the two-player games that I actually do understand why people like it as opposed to Patchwork.
Yes.
But again, that's just me. Okay. Number 7 was 17 last year, 50 the year before that. Although I had to go in here, this is one of the ones I had to add the things together because there was the game, then there was the essential version of the game.
Viticulture.
I was actually
Viticulture,
surprised.
yeah.
I was like, why is Viticulture so low? I thought people really liked this. And I got, here's another version.
Again, whenever a company does this, it only hurts. It's Evolution did it, and they are fragmenting.
Oh, Evolution's not even on the list at all. I didn't see that.
You can get the game or the second edition, or you bought one and then 3 months later a new one with different art came out, like card frames. It's problematic.
But still, despite all that, very popular game.
It is.
I really love Viticulture. And this is one time where I'm glad I have one of the same top 10s as the people do. I think it's the only one of my top 10 that's on the people's top 10. Yeah, it is. Well, no, I think it's right in my top 10. It's really close. Okay, anyway. Number 6 is the new one.
Okay. There you go, Sam. Sam was like, it's going to be number 1 is the new one. What do you think is the new one?
I don't know. I haven't a clue. I'm not good at games.
It is one of the hottest games out right now. Has won a lot of awards.
Gosh.
You've already mentioned it, talking about other things previously. You mentioned it when we talked about Great Western Trail, actually.
Oh, Terraforming Mars, right.
Terraforming Mars. This game is just hot.
It is, yes.
And then the expansion came out at Essen for it, and people were just going gangbusters to get that expansion. Just really doing well. See people playing even just the base game everywhere. So, no big surprise.
That's good.
A lot of fun. Number 5 started at number 4 in 2011. 4, 2, 5, 6, 6, 2, 5. And it is the final, it's the second last, what I would consider gateway game on the list. And I already mentioned the two-player version, and that is Seven Wonders. Should be number 7. You know, it never was number 7. 4, 2, 5, 6, 6, 2, 5.
So this is in my top 10. Well, Seven Wonders Duel also was in my own top 10. I don't know if again, as we talked about Takenoko, I would consider this necessarily a gateway game. There's a lot of symbols and stuff to sort of deal with, but
how you play the game is very simple.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think Antoine Boza's design philosophy is something that appeals to me, in which playing his games is easy. Yeah. Playing them well, or sort of first figuring them out, takes a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's what people really confuse. I think being able to teach a game and being able to know how to play a game is much different than being able to play a game well and win all the time. There's two completely different. And people, I guess, think that a gateway game needs to be, a little bit of both. I don't think that's necessarily true.
So what do you think a gateway game needs to be?
It needs to be easy to teach and easy to play.
Are you saying it's not necessarily true that it needs to be easy to win?
Right.
Yeah, I don't even consider that part, but a lot of people do. It seems to me a lot of people who are gamers think a gateway game is one in which it's easy to strategize.
Right.
No, I need to be able to teach it first, or the people get up and walk away as I'm talking,
True.
It needs to be easy to figure out. Got to sit there and teach it,
Yeah.
So this one, in the teaching part, fails me slightly. They got to be familiar with some concepts,
Number 4 was number 9 last year. Very, very popular game. On some people's lists, it's number 1. And that would be Blood Rage.
Blood Rage.
Which should make you happy, though. I mean, that's pretty high.
Huge.
That beat out Ticket to Ride, Carcassonne.
Huge.
And this is from people. There's a lot of time I see on the internet, people are like, I do not get this. No one really likes Blood Rage just because of the miniatures. No, people really like that game. It was on all 3 of our top 100s for different reasons, even.
Right. This is a lot like Cyclades in many ways. It's a game that brings to the table the best of all these schools of thought, right? So it's got drafting, it's got resource management, kind of. You consider the way you play cards, but then there's clashing and battle, and it's It's a game
It's a game that definitely has people who are detractors, I guess, that don't like the game. But there are a lot of people who really do enjoy it, and I get people telling me all the time about how much they enjoy the game and how much they have fun with it. So, at Essen, we were just talking about how I play the game at almost every convention. Well, I hadn't played it, and then on the last day, 2 hours before we're closing the booth down, the guy says, "If I go buy the game, will you teach it to me?" I'm like, "Sure." So he comes back like 20 minutes later with a copy of Blood Rage. We break it out, punch it, and
we were just sitting there rolling our eyes.
Of course. And I was having a great time.
All right.
And so were they.
Number 3 was number 4 last year. Will it drop now that season 2 is out?
Really? Legacy Season 2. Huh?
Pandemic Legacy Season 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, I just wrote Pandemic Legacy on the list because I wasn't thinking about the Season 1, 2 things.
Sure, right. And now we do need to start saying that. I do think it's funny people have gotten used to saying Pandemic Legacy. You got to start saying 1 or 2 from now on.
No, I'm just going to say Season 1, and you'll know what I'm talking about because there's no other games that have this.
That have a season, that's true. So
yeah, it's interesting, though. This has held up pretty well. Well, this was number 1 on Board Game. Is it still number 1
It
on
is.
Board Game Geek?
It is, number 1.
Cool. We'll see how people react to the second one. We're very curious about that. All right. Number 2!
Oh, that was 3.
That was 3, yes.
And it was 4 last time.
Yes.
Yes. Wow. Number 2 was debuted at number 6 in 2011, then went to number 5, then went to 1, 1, 1, and 1. But now it's number 2.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I did not get the number 1
it was
spot.
a very, very close margin between 1 and 2.
I have to be able to guess what number 1 is.
By the way, number 2 is Pandemic.
Yeah,
in case you haven't got that. Again, this is this is the most popular Gateway game. It is.
Right.
And it's partially because, I think a lot because, when I'm introducing new people, I can be like, hey, we're working together.
Yeah, and that can help you along as we go.
Yeah, right.
Co-ops are good. And there's a lot of co-op games out there, but most of them are not actually very new player friendly.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, you guys don't even, no one's thinking about Pandemic. They're all thinking about number 1. Number 1 was number 19 last year, so it jumped up, which is not surprised because when this game came out, everyone was accusing it of being the hype train. In fact, the first time I played it, okay, man, I was hoping it would drag out that a little bit longer, but Scythe, yes.
Wow. Okay.
Gotcha.
I'm going to go home and burn my copy now, man. I have to. I just took down Pandemic.
That's right.
Oh, man. I will salvage the mechs, though, before I burn it.
Well, here's the deal. It was in both of your top 100s.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mentioned that I feel like next year it's going to actually hit my top 100 because I keep playing it and enjoying it. And obviously there was hype. This was probably, if I ever make a list of top 10 hyped games ever, this is in that list for sure. When that was coming out,
I can think
people
of
were
another
like,
one that would be on that list.
See, here's the thing. I think last year it made the list on hype at 19, and then more people were able to get a hold of it, and more people were able to play it, and now they're seeing what all the hype.
I think a game has to be, it really is true that a game has to be kind of extra good for you to go into it hyped and not walk away feeling disappointed.
Right.
This game brings the goods, you know what I mean?
well, we just saw when the new Cool Stuff store debuted, and we went there and played. Did you see those two guys playing 2-player side?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just fascinated that they liked the game that much to play it in what I consider to be a suboptimal way to play it. Mm-hmm. But they wanted to play side that much, and it's still, again, it's one of those games I'm seeing pulled out. Will it maintain number 1? I don't think so. I think we'll see some shuffling. Pandemic may very well be number 1 next year. Who knows?
I mean, it is getting new expansions, though. I mean, Scythe is.
Mm-hmm.
Had this been number 2, I would have been blown away.
Pandemic's
right?
getting expansions too.
Not base Pandemic. I think they're done with that.
They are.
That's because they're using all the...
Pandemic Legacy Season 1 and Pandemic
Yeah, that's the thing,
No,
though.
those two are split. If you combine those two, it would blow away Scythe.
I'm not combining those
Right,
two.
but that doesn't
No.
make sense. They're not the same game. Sam, shut up.
Yes, they are.
Send your hate mail at
No, here's the deal, though. I really think that they're not doing any more
Shut your
Pandemic
face.
expansions because they're using all those ideas in the legacy games. If they have a
Correct.
new idea, they're like, oh, yeah.
Which in turn makes Season 1 and Season 2 what? Basically expansions to a base game.
Well, Rising Sun is definitely expansion of Blood Rage.
It is that. I agree with 100%.
That is not absolutely true.
That one didn't make the list at all. That's good.
I know.
That would have been really
It will.
weird.
It will.
You think so?
Yeah.
Any games that you saw recently that you think will make the list next year? Rising
game I
Sun will
saw
say yes.
recently.
Like anything that came out at Essen that you think, oh, like I think Azul will make the list next year.
Maybe.
possible.
Certainly sold well enough.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is a good question. I don't know. I kind of want to say Alien Artifacts, but I don't think so.
Nah, oh well, maybe.
That's too. I don't know. I think that's too polarizing.
Let's
Yeah.
wait. Let's
There's
wait
so
and see
many
what the
people-
reactions
agree
are.
with
on
you
both
there.
sides of the deck, on both sides of the fence on that one.
And from the same company, I would say First Martians, but I also think that's too
No,
polarizing.
that one has not gotten good
Too
reviews, I
polarizing,
think.
yeah. So I don't know. I can't think of one off the top of my head that I think would be there next year, anywhere in the top 100.
Well, I'll
What
tell you
about
this. I think the top. No, the only one I can think of is Azul. I think the top 10: Scythe, Pandemic, Pandemic Legacy, Blood Rage, Seven Wonders, Terraforming Mars, Viticulture, Seven Wonders, Dual Ticket to Ride, Codenames. I would have a hard time picking any of those to be knocked out. Actually, I
Yeah.
feel that those are all pretty strong. I don't see. I mean, even Terraforming Mars, I know it's new, but with the expansions and stuff, unless something majorly changes.
Well, I can see Pandemic Season 1 getting kicked out because there is a Season 2. I could see
Actually-
people going, "Ooh, Season 2 was awesome," and voting it and simply just forgetting Season 1.
I don't think that, like, for example, Pandemic Legacy Season 1 is number 1 on Board Game Geek, and that may be that way for a while. I think it's going to fall off our list eventually. Not because it's a bad game, but because it was an experience.
Right.
And so 7 years later, you're like, that was really fun, but I wouldn't call that one of my top 10s. That's going to happen to people. Of
course.
Right now, there's still people finishing this Season 1.
Right.
And as that happens less and less, you will see that game be drop, I think. Not because people dislike it, but because even I had a hard time figuring out, where do I put this on my list? The experience was amazing, but is it in my top 10?
And it's done now.
Yeah.
You don't go back and replay it. Right.
I don't think I played any games that I would say are going to have a very wide appeal. However, I think that maybe Shadows in Kyoto would have a wide enough appeal. I just don't know if they're going to have the distribution and production.
Shadows in Kyoto.
Emperor
I don't think so. It's just too small, I
It's
think.
too small, I think, but it has.
What is this?
See, for me, I think it's
One of
it'd be-
another Hanami Koji game.
No, it's the sequel. It's the sequel to it.
But Hanami-Koji didn't even make the list.
I understand that, but I think this is a better game than Hanami-Koji.
Oh,
It's also, I think, a better
Good.
game than Onitama. But
oh my goodness me.
All
So
right.
it's going to be in his top 5 next year.
No, it's not.
All right, we'll find out. That's a year away. We're done with our top 100s now.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, this is what you all said. Let us know what games you think missed it. In fact, why don't you tell me what games you think come out now that will show up next year? That'd be
Yeah,
interesting.
I am curious to hear
Then we'll
that.
come back and look at this. We won't, but we'll be like, what did we say last year? I don't remember. We can go watch the video. I don't got time for that. All right, anyway, until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Thank you, everybody.
Sam Healy. See you on the flip side, folks.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.